most exciting and the interesting part from a tester's perspective. That's what he does when he moves into quarter 3. So we already know that at least most of the repetitive tasks has been taken care. Now in Q3, I would say this is a time where a tester can really unleash the power of a human intellect to add value to the product. So we talked about that. Q3, one of the primary responsibility or one of the primary focus area for a tester from a Q3 test is to critique the product. Is this product usable to my end users? Is this product can really scale? Is this product really bringing a smile into the customers? So this is an area where you can look at all those aspects, and for a tester to be able to do this, he should have been taken care of both Q1 and Q2. So what does a tester does in Q3? The scenario testing, where you will be testing end-to-end scenarios, especially when you have an integration with an external application or a legacy application. Usually when you are writing a functional test, you either mock it through a simulators which tells you the behaviors of an external system. But once you get into Q3, you will be depending upon the end-to-end workflow scenarios, where you will be going through the entire scenario from a user's perspective and ensure that it is working as expected. Exploratory testing and usability testing, and since this is something that's very familiar to most of the testers, we are going to not dive deep into this, but this is a good time where a tester can look at how he is going to approach both the exploratory testing and usability testing. Something interesting from a testing perspective that I want to introduce, and again the credit goes to Janet and Lisa from their book. This is called soap opera testing, and this is something that we found very, very interesting, and testers really get excited about doing this. What a tester does in a soap opera testing is to look at the various extreme scenarios that can go wrong. It's like your TV serials where I mean, everything that can go wrong will go wrong with a person, especially the heroine. So soap opera testing helps the testers to think from a perspective of, I would say, the heroine of a soap opera, and look at what all are the various different scenarios that can go wrong and test the application for those specific scenarios. And by doing that, the testers will be able to identify most of the difficult or most of the extreme scenarios that can introduce a bug into the testing. And another strategy that a tester can use in Q3 is what is known as a personas. So if your application is used by a banker, put the cap of a banker, think from a banker's perspective, and try to approach the system only from that perspective. So you are continuously testing the application from the perspective of that certain persona and being able to identify issues coming out of that. So you talk to the customers or you talk to the end users who falls into that category and being able to identify what are the potential value addition that you can bring into the system. So use personas when you are planning for Q3. Again, you might not be using all the tools which we covered during this presentation. You might have to pick what is best for your scenario and being able to use it. Now let's move into the last quarter, which is Q4. Q4 is an area where you are focusing on a non-functional requirement that increase the value of the product. How many users can your application support? Can you scale your application? What happens if 100 users access this application? What happens when multiple sites are basically trying to connect to this application at the same time? What is the issues with the bandwidth? All these non-functional requirement needs to be part of the Q4, and when you are planning, as I mentioned at the beginning, During the release planning itself, you need to keep in mind what is your strategy going to be in terms of a non-functional requirement, and being able to have a strategy regarding that in quarter 4. So who does the Q4 testing? Some of the time it requires a expertise of a specialist to handle testing which are there in Q4. So it cannot be done by a tester alone. So tester has to collaborate with programmers, sometimes a specialist like a DBA, and being able to come up with testing scenarios, ideally automated, and being able to bring it into the table as a part of their test strategy. One important thing that we need to keep in mind is the fact that the Q4 testing need not wait till the application is ready. This is something that a tester can start at the beginning itself and being able to slice it. For an example, first you set the environment and ensure that the environment being able to test, and over a period of time you can scale it. For an example, when you are doing the first slice and only testing whether you can do a performance testing in that bare minimum environment, you can eliminate the configuration issues, and over a period of time you will be able to scale on top of it and being able to get into a stage where by the end of the sprint you've been able to cover most of the condition of satisfaction which a customer has set, instead of starting on that at the end of the sprint. So when you are slicing the user stories, when you are thinking about your strategy, these all needs to be taken care when you are doing the release planning itself, based on what the condition of satisfaction that user has and your understanding about the quality from a customer's perspective. We'll quickly move into look at what